later in the employee's years at the company. So when they're older, and usually it's mid-60s that we see this cash balance start to trump the defined benefit. As you can see, the value of the cash balance pension account that this equates to, that is a lump sum amount. So they actually have to discount back to a annuity factor using interest rates and life expectancy, but it's the opposite process of discounting to a lump sum that we see with the defined benefit plans. In 1996, the company also came out with another pension plan, and this one was directed at the employees on the West Coast, the more expensive employees to keep on the workforce. And they called it the Accelerated Transition Benefit, or the ATB. And this was designed to give employees the incentive to leave the workforce, but what it did was add 38% overnight to the value of the employee's pension. And we'll see how it was calculated. So they took an average pay formula just like that original SPP plan, the 5-year average salary again. This time they multiplied by 10%, multiplied by NCS as of that date, so it was immediately frozen from inception. And then, of course, subtracting age penalties, dividing by 12 to get the monthly annuity. Now, the only difference here really is that 2% was an increase from 1.45%, which led to that 38% overall increase in the plan value. Now, the age penalties worked a little bit differently as well, and if you had greater than 30 years, you wouldn't have any. But if you had less than 30 years with the company, you were going to have a sliding scale of age penalties, so 2% a year if you were age 50 to 54, 4% a year from 45 to 49, and 8% a year anybody who was under the age of 44. So this is a cumulative formula. So if they were 47, for instance, they would have 5 years at 2% and then 3 years at 4%. So 10 and 12 is 22% age penalties. But somebody who's 47, for instance, whose pension went up by 38% and down by 22%, had a net increase to their pension of 16%, and could retire very comfortably at age 47. So a very good offer, and many people took this plan and left the company. Unfortunately, too many people were taking this offer, and they needed a way to sort of stop the bleeding or retain employees. So by 1998, they came out with another pension plan to incentivize the employees to stay, because that ATB was frozen. They came out with this special accelerated transition benefit, which was not frozen immediately, and it actually grew on an annual basis at the GAT rate, which was pretty high. It was almost 6% at this time, and what this resulted in was over the next 3 years, people who qualified for this special ATB, their pension increased 18% over the 3 years, and then the company froze this plan as well. So both of these plans still exist today. They are both frozen, but some of the employees, especially on the West Coast, will fall under this plan, so it's important that we know it. And as you can see, the formula here is exactly the same as the ATB, except that it's grown by the GAT rate for 3 years. So fast forward a few years, and we have another early retirement offer. Now this one was a little bit different. It was a 5+5, and it's much better than the 3+3 or any offer that we've seen since. We probably will never see an offer this good because effectively an employee who was 45 with 20 years of service became 50 years old with 25 years of service and pension eligible and could retire comfortably at age 45. Now keep in mind, when these employees are very young and taking their pensions, their lump sum is going to be very high because that lump sum is reduced over time with life expectancy. So if a lot of the people that we're working with have a lot of service and are young, so somebody that started maybe when they were 18 or 20 and worked there for 30 plus years, they're going to have some of the highest pensions because they're still young and they have a lot of life expectancy still left. So what these offers do are let young people not only have the service and the age, but the lump sum calculation uses their actual age and gives them very, very strong pensions. In 2001, the company came out with a new pension plan again, and remember, this was the year that the company actually froze the SATB, so they needed another plan that was an incentive to keep employees around. And they came out with this career average minimum. Now, if you were management before June 12th of 01, you were immediately eligible for the plan. Anybody who became management after that time has to wait 3 years to become eligible to start accruing benefits on this plan. The way that it's calculated, very similar to the other DB plans that we've seen at AT&T. It's a little bit of a difference. You take the 5-year average from 95 to 99, their average compensation. They multiply that by their NCS as of that date. So this is a frozen figure. They're then going to add on an annual basis, their total pension compensation. And what they mean by pension compensation is salary, bonuses, any other team awards that they're getting, basically all compensation that they're getting on an annual basis. So that factor that we just looked at was what they call the adjusted career income. They then multiply that by 1.6% and divide by 12. This gives them the monthly annuity again. And this plan also has a lump sum option on it, using the same life expectancy and interest rates. And we'll talk about what interest rate they've used over the past in a moment and what the significance of that is. But it's important to understand this formula because it applies to probably 90 to 95% of the employees today. Now keep in mind, these are for management employees only. So the way that the age penalties work on the CAM, they separate them into two different tables. One being if you are Mod 75 and the other being if you are not Mod 75. So if you are Mod 75, what they call Table A penalties, well, let's say, for instance, you have not got your 30 years yet and you are not 55 yet. This person will have 6% a year age penalties, or 0.5% a month for every year under the age of 55. If they aren't 55 but they got their 30 years of service, they're going to have 3% a year age penalties, or it's going to basically be cut in half. Now, the third scenario is if they are not Mod 75 yet, or what they call Table B penalties. It's going to depend on their age, but you can see that using this table, it can become a very severe penalty, regardless of their service. So let's say the box here that's highlighted, somebody who's 54. Even if this person has 20 years of service and is only 1 year away from being a Mod 75 or pension eligible, if they leave the company under this Table B, they're only going to walk away with almost less than 35% of their pension. A very severe penalty. If they wait 1 more year, they will walk away with 100% of their pension. So this is very important, first and foremost, that we communicate this age penalty and the severity of this penalty to the employees that we're working with. Most of them actually know how Mod 75 works. Some of them don't, but many people in the past have left on Table B voluntarily for no reason, and our job is to actually make sure that they realize this before they make a mistake and leave with a very small amount of their pension.
Can we ask you a question, Tyson?
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, back to the previous slide there. On that factor, like the age 54, did you say that that factor there is what percent of their pension they get to keep? So they would only get 34.6% of it, or is that the reduction on? Is that the reduction on it?
No, that is what they keep. So that is a reduction of about 66%. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, roughly 2/3 of it you're going to give up if you leave 54 versus 55.
Exactly. If this person,
assuming you had the 30 years or whatever.
The 20 years. This person only needed 20 years and age 54.
Yeah, or 20. Yeah. Okay. I just want to be. That's a big factor.
Yeah, it's a very big reduction. It's only keeping 30% of your pension.
When you think about giving up 2/3 of that number for as long as you live.
Yeah, if you got 30 years left to live, your pension's only going to get you about 10 years away if you walk away like this.
Okay, thanks.
So this slide just goes over what we just talked about. The person who's 55 with 20 gets 100% of their pension. 54 with 20 is...
Right. And then there you have it explained.
Say again?
I said that slide explains the previous slide a little bit more.
Yeah.
On a table, lose 65%.
Exactly. And if they have 30 years and